baking, please bring out your bread from the pan immediately. Do not let it remain inside the pan, because the hot steam from the bread needs an escape route. So you should depan immediately and place on the rack for cooling. Please tell your staffs that are working for you. Otherwise, that will be the beginning of your bread spoiling. It will not have a long shelf life. Let your bread cool down completely before packaging it. Give it time. All the steams, both on the body and inside the bread, has to escape out. I will even advise you bake in the morning, slice and wrap in the evening. Give it enough time. 4 hours is actually enough for a bread to cool down, right? If you bake, maybe in the next 4 hours, by then it will have cooled down very well. Then that's when you can now slice and wrap. Don't go and wrap a hot bread, because a hot bread has steam, and that steam is moist. It will not turn, your bread will not be soggy like there's water, as if someone puts water inside the bread, and you don't want that. So allow your bread to dry very well, to cool down very well before you wrap. Okay? Now let me take you through the possible problems and their likely solutions. I'm going to be using alphabets to name them. A. Why is there too much volume in my bread? Possible cause is that you might have used too much yeast. So check the quantity of yeast that you're using. Another cause could be that the dough overproofed. Ensure you know the right timing and the measurement of yeast to use. B. Why is my bread not shaped well? Or why am I having a deformed bread? Possible cause is that you didn't mold properly, or the settings on your molding machine, as if you have one, is not set properly, or that you did not put the bread into the pan properly. Why does my bread not have that beautiful brown color? It is either the baking temperature is too low, or baking time is too short, or an inconsistent oven heat. The solution is to increase the baking temperature, extend the baking time, and check the oven element. Ensure that your oven is working properly. Why did my bread crack open at the top? This usually happens to people that use proofing machine. Yeah, even either the proofer is too dry or the dough was baked without proofing. So you should check the settings on the proofing machine. That could be where the problem is coming from. Why is there a hole in my bread? This is usually caused by your molding, especially if you're molding with hand. Molding with hand is an art or a skill you should learn. Not everyone can do this right. Like me, it took me a long time to actually perfect molding with my hand. Now, I can tell you that I can even mold better than any molding machine. That's good now. Also, what causes hole is when you have too much flour powder on the table. Let me explain this one. You know, when you finish mixing, some people, when they finish mixing, when they bring out the dough from the mixer, they want to place it on their work table. What they do first is they will carry flour and sprinkle on the table. No, don't do that. Instead of sprinkling flour on the table before putting your dough on it, why don't you just sprinkle a little groundnut oil on that table? Or you take a little butter and just rub on the table, on your work area, on that table before placing the dough on it. Don't sprinkle flour. Don't sprinkle flour. Leave flour alone. Flour has done its work. You've mixed it already. So don't now take extra flour again and be sprinkling on the table. It's not chin-chin you're making. It's not puff. No, even puff safe. You don't even need to sprinkle flour. But it's not chin-chin that you're making. It's where people that make chin-chin. It's people that make chin-chin that will be sprinkling flour on the table before they put their dough on it. It is bread that you're making. Instead, use groundnut oil. It's so funny. Instead, use groundnut oil. Sprinkle a little groundnut oil on the table. Or you take butter, rub on that table before you place your dough on it. Okay? Sometimes that's what causes hole inside bread. Okay? Okay, I would advise you stop using flour and sprinkle a little bit of groundnut oil instead. Let me stop laughing. I'm going to be serious now. Why did my bread collapse? This is This is due to not leaving the dough alone after placing it inside the pan. When you keep touching the rising dough or transporting the rising dough from one pan to another, that's the result. So you should let it be. Okay? You should also check the quantity of water that you're using. That's another thing. Yes, quantity of water is very important. The water you're using could also be the reason why your bread is not coming out properly. Use the right quantity of water. Let me give you an expo here now. For a half bag of flour, right? A half bag of flour, please. It depends on the flour you're using, sha. Use 13.5 maximum. Or you use 13.5 liters. That's what I'm trying to say. 13.5 liters of water maximum. Or you use a 13 liter of water. Or even a 12.5 liter of water. It depends on the flour. If it's for golden penny confectionery, or golden penny, what's the other one? Golden penny, confectionery. I think what you should use, just use 13 liters of water for half bag of flour. It means that you're going to use 26 liters of water for one full bag. Alright? And this water I'm talking includes the ice block plus the broken ice block. Everything total plus the water and the ice block together for a half bag of flour should be 13 liters. Okay? But if you're using, is it mix and bake? Yes, mix and bake. If you're using mix and bake, use 13.5 because mix and bake absorbs more water than golden penny. That's what I've noticed too. I'm not here to market any brand. I'm not marketing their brand. They're not paying me for mentioning their names, the companies. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm just telling you based on my experience. When you're using mix and bake absorbs more water than golden penny. That's what I've noticed. Right? So that if you're using Mama Gold to use 13.5, it absorbs water a lot. Mama Gold. If you're using, is it Dangote? Yes, Dangote flour too absorbs water. So you should use 13.5. If you use 13 liters for all this flour I'm measuring, it's still okay. But I'm saying maximum 13.5. Don't exceed it. If you go and exceed and use more than 13.5 liters for a half bag of flour, you will end up with over soft dough, and you don't want that. Okay? Now another problem is, why does my bread stick to the pan? The major cause of this is when you don't grease your pan properly with either butter or groundnut oil, or when you don't rub butter on the dough before you throw it into the pan. Right? Like I told you guys, don't do two of them at the same time. Don't put in pan and put in on dough. Choose one. Why does my bread not last? Major cost is using contaminated water or work tool that is not clean. That's why NAFDAC always insists that you have an industrial filter in place, so your water will be free from microbes. Those microbes are all those small microorganisms that you might not see that are present in your water. That's why they're always saying use filtered water. Ensure you have a water filtration system in place so that your water will be free from all those microbes that could make your bread spoil. Another thing again that will make your bread not to last is when your work table is dirty, or your working tools, the things you use in making that bread, is not clean. The last time you produce it, you did not clean it properly. You know, some workers can be very lazy. They don't wash regularly. The one they used the last time, they will still use it again. So microorganisms would have already settled on all those things, and then by the time you use it to make this bread again, they are already stuck to your bread, and from there your bread will begin to spoil. That's another thing. Where you keep your bread after production also matters. Not using the right measurement of preservative is another thing. Check the pack of whatever preservative you're using. It is always written the quantity that you should use by the manufacturer. They always state it there. Also know that the function of any preservative ends the moment your bread comes out of the oven, not after. Let me clarify. The purpose of your preservative is not to keep your bread from spoiling. Okay? I'll make a separate video for that. That's a topic for another day. I know somebody will say, but that's why it's called a preservative now. Yes, it is a preservative. It does its job before the bread enters the oven, not after it has come out though. So whatever you do after your bread has finished baking is what will determine if that bread will last longer or not, and not that preservative you used. Preservative, the essence of preservative is not to preserve that thing for longer days. Preservative just helps to kill whatever microbes that might be inside your flour before you begin to mix. Okay, so that's where people get it wrong. They think that preservative is to keep your bread to last longer. Don't worry, I'll make a separate video. For that. That's a topic for another day. I will explain better what I mean by preservative. Preservative's function ends the moment your bread comes out of the oven. If you go to any baking school, they will tell you that's the truth. You can research it online to know if I'm telling the truth or not. That your preservative does its work before the bread enters the oven. The moment it comes out, the preservative has finished its work. So wherever you place your bread or whatever you do to the bread is what will determine if that bread will last longer or not. Okay, guys? So dirty environments or dirty working tools like your cutter, your racks, your knives, tabletop could affect the shelf life of your bread. Last but not the least is the weather. That is the time of the season. What time of the season are you in? You realize that bread gets spoiled quickly and often during rainy season because of the moist air and because mold is everywhere due to dirt. So dry season, bread hardly gets bad. So you just do your part and ensure your environment is clean. Now for the season one, like I was saying, that during rainy season, you'll be noticing that your bread is always spoiling. Yes, it's because there's too much moist air, water everywhere, in the air, in the atmosphere everywhere. And then in your bakery, maybe there are molds in some places. So that could be another thing. Okay? So, but during dry season, you notice that bread lasts longer. Your bread can even stay without entering into, when people buy your bread and they don't even put it in the refrigerator, your bread can stay up to 1 full week, 7 days without getting spoiled during dry season. Right? Even sometimes up to even 10 days without getting spoiled. You won't see any mold growing on it. But during rainy season, don't try it though. Rainy season, bread spoils very easily because of the weather. Right? Because there's always water. There's water everywhere in the atmosphere everywhere. So you notice that bread spoils quickly during rainy season than during dry season. Okay? So guys, I hope I have done justice to this topic. Please like, share, and leave me a comment so I know you were here and that you saw this video. So till my next video, bye for now. And I wish you a happy selling.